What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Run With Tobe Podcast. I'm Jared, and this is episode 24. Thank you guys for joining us today. Today is a really exciting episode. Andrew and I had a chance to sit down and interview a couple of up-and-coming social media influencers. We sit down and talk to Niko and Cristal Valdes. Niko is actually a professional boxer. He started boxing right after high school to kind of cope with some bullying issues that he had going through high school, so he turned to boxing to kind of deal with it. He's got a really awesome story that has led him to where he is today. And actually, Niko is about to complete training with Logan Paul for his upcoming YouTube fight. So it's really exciting stuff. You guys should definitely stick around to check that out. We also talked to Cristal, his wife, who has an interesting social media career as well. She started off on the traditional schooling path where she went to a university, then she was going to actually become a lawyer, but somewhere in the middle of that decided that, that wasn't the thing for her, going the traditional route. So she dives into how she's combined mental health and fashion and beauty to reach out and help young people. It's a really interesting episode. I think you guys will really love it. Make sure you stay tuned for the entire episode. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and tell a friend about the Run With Tobe podcast. We'd love for you guys to spread the word for us, and we hope you enjoy this episode. Today is a special day. We haven't had a guest on in a while, and we have two awesome guests. I'm super excited. We have Cristal and Niko. What's going on, guys?
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. Cool. So let me just give the audience and everybody just a little bit of a backstory on kind of how we met and a little bit about them, and then I'll let them kind of take the ropes and talk about their journey and their story. So Cristal is an up-and-coming beauty and fashion lifestyle influencer, and Niko is a professional boxer who is currently signed to Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, but he's also super on top of his social media game, and he is on his way to being like a superstar influencer. Together now, they're running a lifestyle vlog YouTube channel together, and it kind of documents their journey through their life. It does some product reviews, I think, right? And it's just overall fun to watch. Which is awesome. They're really, really charismatic, awesome characters.
And I have to say, you both just got married, and I was just telling Jared, the edit got on, or the cut of the edit got onto your YouTube channel like the day after your wedding. Yeah. So Jared is lazy because it takes him a week to produce our podcast. So step up your game, bro.
I'm going to actually defer to Oz. He's somewhere in the background.
This is just the finger pointing blame.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's just a little insight. I met them at the beginning of 2018 through a mutual friend, my friend Tommy, who runs an apparel company called Gold Apparel LA. Ding. We'll put that link in there somewhere. But he introduced me to them, and we teamed up and shot a video for Niko with Tommy's apparel. So that was really fun. So that's kind of how I got to know them. And then me and Cristal kind of just been chatting back and forth throughout the rest of the year, just kind of figuring out a good time to line up the podcast. And that's kind of how we got to here today. So what's going on, guys?
Nothing much, just busy with vlogging and stuff every day. It's a lot of work.
That's nothing much, but I'm like, there's always something going on.
Right.
There's always so much stuff.
It seems like it. I mean, you guys just watch, if you keep up with their social media handles, and we'll link those in, like if you keep up with their Instagram individually and then you keep up with their YouTube channel, it's like these guys don't sleep because you guys are just working around the clock, including getting married.
Cristal sleeps.
I sleep a lot.
Well, you have, okay, well, you have a good reason.
Forced to sleep.
I think you've got an excuse.
Yeah.
I was just telling him, I was like, I can't wait until she's actually born, and then I can actually have her work with me, and like, because I know she's gonna
already getting the baby to hustle.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. So why don't you guys give us a little bit of your backstory? Niko, we'll start with you.
Well, I'll start in high school. I got bullied a lot as a kid in high school because I was a little chubby kid who played video games. Like World of Warcraft was like my favorite thing in the world. So that's all I did. And then once I turned 18, I wanted to learn how to defend myself because I was like, I'm going to college now. I'm not going to get picked on like this. So I started boxing. And the day I started boxing, I like really fell in love with it. And then I told my coaches that I just met the day before. I was like, I go in the next day like, I want to go to the Olympics and I want to go pro. And they're like, what? Like, let's calm down. Let's get some fights. I didn't have any fights. And I was like, all right, I'll get some fights. I'll do whatever. So I go in there, I get beat up. They put me in with pros right away. I get beat up every day. And then my coach is like, he always tells me a story that he says, we'll see how much he wants it by if he returns, because I had a bloody nose, busted up face, but then I came back the next day. I went to spar every day. I always came back. And
Hey,
and
Niko,
then
you don't mind just put your hands like.
Oh.
I know you want to get those guns.
Sorry,
up there,
you don't have to defend yourself against it.
but just so it doesn't get in front of the mic. That's all, man.
So then I got my first amateur fight. I lost my first amateur fight. Then I lost my second amateur fight. And then I started winning after I got like 15 fights. Then I started winning consecutively. Before it was like win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And then after 4 years, I went to the Olympic trials and I got like third place in the Olympic trials to go to the Olympics for 2016. And then I lost. And then Oscar De La Hoya wrote to me on Instagram if I wanted to get signed to Golden Boy. I was like, yeah, for sure. Like,
Yeah, who's going to turn that down, right?
I could have went to Belgium because my family's from Belgium for the Olympics, but I couldn't turn down the offer because I didn't know it was going to be there after. So I could have went to Olympics still, but I didn't do it.
How did he find you?
I think it's because, like, you know, when someone follows, like, he followed someone I know.
Okay.
He followed Adriano Lima, and Adriano Lima followed me. So then I think it's like people who like other people's stuff. Yeah,
That's the power of social media.
Yep.
Yeah. So then he found me, and ever since then I just been fighting, and I reached like all the goals I've wanted to. The day I started boxing at 18, I said I want to be signed to Golden Boy, and I wanted to fight on national TV, and I got signed to Golden Boy, and I fought on ESPN.
Dude,
So
that's
awesome, man.
That's amazing.
That's
man.
And I think the crazier part is the acceleration, because you started so late, right? Usually
so
pro
real
athletes
late.
start. I mean, like LeBron probably started playing basketball when he was like 6, right?
Yeah.
Most pro athletes start at a really, really young age. So for you to start so late and then achieve so much so quickly, I think that's just a testament to your work ethic.
Well, no, man, you lost a lot in the beginning and you kept coming back.
Yeah,
that's the other part of it too,
never
man,
giving
you
up
know?
is a real thing. Like every day, and it's hard work. Every day I was in the gym for three times a day, every single day for 6 years, and I get to places like I never took a vacation.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. That's crazy.
It's funny. I didn't have any of a career in martial arts, but I actually started Taekwondo when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And it actually was a dream of mine to go to the Olympics too. So I started training when I was like really seriously training when I was like 10 or 11 years old. And then I actually went to Colorado Springs to
I went
train
there too for
at the Olympic
boxing.
Training Center.
Yeah.
You ever do cardio in Colorado, man? It's killer, dude.
Did you ever do those big staircases all the way
to
up
the torch?
mountain?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I did that the first time. I had no idea about the altitude.
Yeah.
And I remember getting down from
But
that,
dude, you were like, how old?
well, like 11, 12
No
years old.
excuses, man. You were like iron then.
So I was we had to run sprints, up and down those stairs. I remember we stopped and we're all standing at attention there, and I'm like ready to black out. I've never had that feeling before. And then I realized after the fact that, it's because of the altitude. But anyway, so I was trying to train for the 2000 Olympics in Sydney when Taekwondo is going to become an official Olympic sport. But I injured my knee and lost my sponsor and all that kind of stuff. But I saw a lot of like where eventually like you're trying to go to and what you're trying to do. And it's tough, man. It's a lifestyle because for me, it was a hobby at that point. You know what I mean? And if I would have made it out of the team trials and all that kind of stuff, then maybe it would have changed my life. But you committed your life to it like up front, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, I dropped everything to do boxing.
I think you got to do that.
Everything.
It's like, what's that laser like focus that you sort of have, That's amazing, man. Cool.
How about you, Cristal? What's your backstory?
Ooh, okay. Well, I recently graduated and
Congratulations.
thank you. Oh,
What'd you study?
I did family therapy. I did marriage and family therapy. And as an undergrad, I did pre-law and psychology. And I remember a week before I started law school, I knew that in my heart, law school wasn't really what I wanted to do, but it was a really hard decision to make because my whole life, everyone kept talking about she's going to be an attorney. And I remember my father saying like, oh yeah, my daughter's going to be a lawyer. And there was a lot of pressure. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, I can go forward, but I know I'm not going to be happy. I know I want to help people, but maybe just this isn't my calling. So I switched over. I dropped out of the law school program and I called my dad and I said, I don't want to be an attorney. I want to help people, but not this way. So I loved psychology. Psychology is just one thing that I knew I could do for the rest of my life, and I could never get tired of it. So I found a marriage and family therapy program in Fort Lauderdale, and I finished it. I graduated with a 4.0. That had always been my goal. And it took a lot of work, but it also took a lot of courage. So one thing that I learned during that time was courage. And I was like, wow, coming from like a Hispanic family, it was a lot of pressure to say, I don't want to be what I've been telling you guys I was going to be my whole life.
Right. Yeah, totally.
So this is what I'm going to pursue.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of my story. And then as a therapist, I started working with the homeless population. And I got really into makeup. And during that time, a lot happened personally and also as a professional. I began to realize that I had the ability to connect with people from all over the world and also within my community. So I began to think of ways that I could use makeup as a way to talk about other types of issues like identity issues, personality, anxiety, things that I was dealing with in my own, but also things that I would hear from my clients. And so through social media, I started posting pictures of makeup. But then in my captions, I would write something like motivational or something about courage. And I try to relate it to a makeup look. I try to relate it to different issues that were going on at the time. And I began to notice that people liked it. I was like, okay, well, this is a cool way to talk about topics that are sometimes hard to talk about.
Sure.
But I can add some humor. I can add some art to it.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. Make sure you check out the full episode in our Tobe YouTube channel. You can hear the full episode there. Or if you just want to listen to the podcast, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere you can find a podcast.